And welcome to the latest episode of Nerds Amalgamated. Hope you're having a wonderful day, wonderful week, wonderful life. With me today, I have the Professor. How you going, Professor?
I'm going pretty well.
Yeah, you're very hesitant to respond there. Is there something?
Yeah, no, I accidentally hit mute. Happens to the best of us, being me.
It hasn't happened to me before. And with me, I have the DJ.
Hey guys.
You're very quiet there, DJ. Are you feeling a bit ashamed?
No, I just like to be quiet. What's wrong with being quiet?
Okay, I know you, and there's no way you like to be quiet. You can't be quiet. Normally, we have to tell you to use your indoor voice.
We had to train you to be quiet so you wouldn't wreck your microphone.
Hey, I'm always loud because I project my voice after so many years of being in speech and drama.
You're in speech and drama?
Once upon a time,
It explains so much. Can we call you
Honestly,
a drama queen?
I thought you had to be able to act to be in drama.
Well, when I was a kid,
No. You don't have to be able to act. After all, look at a lot of the stuff that's called acting these days.
And most of them involve a green screen or two.
Especially those Marvel movies.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and also, what is it? Home and Away?
Home and Away.
Seriously?
Sounds like you just saw an episode of Home and Away and just went, what was I watching?
No. Even suggesting that is paramount to proposing torture. I watched the start of the very first episode when it first came on, and it was my brother's choice, and I just looked at my brother and I just said, "You're a weirdo," and got up and walked out.
Honestly, you probably haven't missed much. They're probably still going over the same plot lines from 30 years ago.
Well,
I don't know. I was working with a group of blokes at one place, and they were all young fellas, and they were all talking about it. And I said, "You're watching this because of your girlfriends, right?" And they said, "No, we enjoy it." I quickly replaced those guys because I was a little bit unsure of them after that.
I actually did watch the first few episodes of Home and Away, and they were much more riveting to watch than the current Home and Away, which is just basically, he cheated on this guy and she cheated on that guy, and they all lived happily ever after.
Wasn't that the start of Home and Away anyway?
No, Home and Away was initially just a new family just coming into
No. We're not talking about that. No.
This is the Nerd Podcast, not the Home and Away podcast.
This isn't the Drama Queens. Anyway, first up, we have... Oh, apparently I've put myself first this week.
Here you go.
Apparently when we did the meeting, we forgot to organise this, and so the DJ just put me first. Then himself last. He wants to save himself to be last. Talk about ego. Anyway, first up, we have a story about how researchers, engineers, environmentalists, and all sorts of people are proposing the use of solar farms to create wildlife habitats, etc., to protect endangered species and also for flora and fauna.
But I thought green energy killed all the wild animals, Bucky.
No, that's part of the flat Earth theory. This particular study here that I've got the article for is from England, but I've also seen Japan is doing similar, where they're actually doing floating solar farms and using it to prevent excessive evaporation in summer months, and also to reduce the cooling requirements because sitting on the water, it helps to keep them a bit cooler.
And if I remember correctly, solar panels are more efficient when they're cool.
Yes, from what I understand as well. So green energy is green in more ways than one. On here, that part of the thing that we got for the statistics is struggling species such as tree sparrows, which have seen numbers fall by 94% in the last 40 years. Turtle doves, seen an 89% reduction in numbers. Using these green habitats should help provide homes for them. And England's one of the countries that's actually pretty good at looking after green space. So, yeah, I reckon we should be looking at doing similar here in Australia. What do you reckon, guys?
Yeah,
Green
I'm all
energy.
for solar and wind energy.
Yeah, but I
What
agree.
about tidal flow?
Yep, that too.
See,
There's less places that are suitable for it, but it's still a really good solution.
See, guys, I'm all for like green energy in terms of how we can replace coal, but the problem I'm seeing is it's not really helping out in the current model. Like you look at Adelaide, for example, they totally adopted their power structure to green energy, and in a matter of months, it just crumbled. People were just mad at the rolling blackouts and
Yeah, but this is because it wasn't implemented properly. If you look at, there's other countries where they got higher energy usage and they're putting Australia to shame. I think Denmark and Norway are producing more, more electricity than what they need nationally now from green energy.
Yeah, the Scandinavian countries tend to do that.
So, and even Germany, I think 70% of their total national energy was from green energy, but they've improved it. So, yeah, like Denmark are just absolutely killing it on the renewable energies because they've got solar, wind, and hydro, which would be tidal flow. So, and we're from the sunburnt country, so we should be able to plenty of solar power and so forth. And by putting them solar panels actually above waterways would help to and on dams would actually help to reduce evaporation and counteract the effects of drought.
Yeah.
But then here's the thing though, comparing South Australia to like Denmark and stuff, isn't it like comparing a big country like China to Japan in terms of the size?
Yeah, but when you look at the amount of usage, Denmark's usage would be much higher than what South Australia's is. South Australia has only just gone half-hearted into it, whereas if they put in proper solar farms and also wind turbines and tidal flow generators, they should be able to, like, I've seen plans for tidal flow generators that can provide enough electricity just along the eastern seaboard to power the entire country. And that means pumping the electricity from the east coast of Australia to the west coast.
Wow, so even taking into account transfer issues, it's still producing that much power.
Yeah, like you can put the tidal flow generators out so they're sitting. You remember we were talking about the what's the name? Google was looking at doing a server
the underwater data center.
Well, they were looking at doing one on board a ship off the coast years ago. Even the underwater one that uses tidal flow generator technology. Someone adapted similar sorts of things so that you can have basically a massive tidal flow generator, because tidal flow isn't actually governed by tidal, like the tides. It's just the flow of the water. So you can even have it in rivers. So yeah, the amount, because when you look at the flow of water running between Australia and New Zealand, the pressure it produces is pretty intense. So all you have to do is just put it in key locations and have decent sized units operating, and you can produce tons of electricity. And we're on a massive island, so yeah, we can produce enough electricity that we can power the entire country.
Yeah, I wonder if there's anything to be done for this ocean south of Tassie, because that would be a really good place for offshore wind turbines.
Yeah, but it's, once again, it just comes down to the matter of transference. But like, you could produce, like, we got plenty of areas where we could put wind turbines on tops of mountains and so forth. And there's some there's actually new ones that are bladeless. Have you seen those?
Yeah, I think I have.
It's I know I probably harp on a little bit too much sometimes about green energy, but we got to start doing something smarter rather than just doing the same thing and then complain when it doesn't change. After all, there was some idiots who were sitting in the middle of peak hour traffic this morning to protest about.
Oh yeah, the
stuff.
Canoes. Oh, that was.
And
so
they had the
annoying.
other two morons who super glued themselves to the road.
Jesus.
the other morning. Oh, didn't you hear about that?
No, I missed that.
Two nutters, and I mean, you got to be a nutter to think that just supergluing yourself to the road is going to work. Yeah, they superglued themselves to the road. I think it was not far from the convention centre, and yeah, so yeah, the Vortex bladeless system
The protest
just
was
oscillates.
so bad. The protest was so bad.
Like I can understand
Protests in
wanting to
Germany
protest.
over the week. They shut down an entire coal mine.
Yeah, they went into the pit. They only shut it down for an hour or two, and only in the area where those people were.
Yeah.
Like it was literally like I think it was 10 to 20% of the operations were halted, and everything else just continued. So yeah.
It's
Anyway,
really unfortunate that Germany's shutting down their nuke stations.
not really, because like nuclear power does produce a heap of electricity and energy, but they haven't improved it enough really to make it like a truly viable source for the long term.
Yeah, the thing is, since Germany shutting down their nuke stations, they're switching back to coal.
Yeah, but that is a shame. Although they were doing green energy, that they had solar farms and all that sort of stuff happening as well. They've been investing heavily into a lot of that. Like I remember with Greece when they were having all the troubles, the Germans were actually wanting to put massive solar farms in Greece to help with reducing the cost of electricity for the country. But they wanted to make sure it was retained as being controlled by Germany, just so that they could ensure it wasn't being ripped up and stolen and sold off. And the Greeks didn't want that. So yeah.
Well, they did. Well, the reason why Germany were trying to shut down the nuclear plants in the first place was because of what happened in Fukushima, and they were saying, "Oh crud! If what happened in Fukushima could affect us, we'll be even more screwed. So we're going to shut down most nuclear power plants."
Yeah. Look, honestly, Fukushima's scary because of the simple fact there's areas there now where they're showing the constant tidal drift of all the stuff leaking out of Fukushima. So basically any seafood you eat at the moment that's come out of the Pacific Ocean is contaminated.
I thought that was mostly a non-issue now, since they managed to get it contained.
No, it's still leaking stuff, apparently.
Okay.
Like they've contained most of it, but there's still, like they're saying, like there's one cancer death attributed to radiation exposure since 2011.
Yeah,
but
considering the circumstances, it's been a pretty good cleanup.
Oh, the Japanese they're brilliant with how they do things, but there's reports of stuff leaking out. How accurate they are, I question some of the reports that I see.
Well, the new Godzilla movie was more of a documentary. Yeah.
Well, there is problems where they think that there is that. And also, have you seen the stuff about what's that Russian one that had the problems?
Chernobyl.
Yeah,
new HBO series that I've been meaning to watch.
Well, it's still so from what I've gathered, it's still leaking in Fukushima, only in very small amounts, apparently.
Yeah, like you see pictures coming through every now and again on Facebook that shows that it's like technically the Great Barrier Reef is saving the east coast of Australia from annihilation. Maybe that's what we need to blame for global warming. That and the hairspray of all the ladies from the 80s.
God dang CFCs.
But
the amount of hairspray used in Greece is enough to wipe out a small island nation.
The amount of what they used in Greece?
Hairspray.
Yeah.
For that 50s hair.
Yep. Like honestly, we need to start working smarter rather than just constantly doing the same things. So yeah. Anyway, I suppose we should probably move on. Otherwise, people will think we're actually part of Greenpeace. Nobody wants that.
Well, at least we're not off with the fairies.
Oh,
that's the worst shout out I've ever heard.
Come on. There's nothing wrong with being off with the fairies. Have you listened to their podcast?
Not yet, but I'm going to. Before I remember to edit in the promo bit here. I'm totally going to forget that.
I'm pretty sure you won't.
Hi, I'm Morgan Phillips and I'm a human.
And I'm Isabella Vallette, and I'm also a human. But I was raised by fairies, and now I'm taking my human friend Morgan in to meet all of the mythological creatures that I know.
Every Sunday we meet a new mythological creature and interview them about their life in a modern day context.
Such as
The Night King from Game of Thrones.
Funicula, the friendly vampire brother of Dracula.
We've met the Loch Ness Monster.
Santa.
The Volpertinger.
The Devil.
And a mermaid.
And many more.
We release all our interviews as a podcast called Off with the Fairies, where we interview a new mythological creature every week living in a modern day world.
Come join us.
That's Not Canon Productions podcast.
So, after that fabulous ad, yeah, definitely, guys, give them a listen and say hello. So, yeah, next story we have up is... sorry, I just changed my screen. I think it's you, isn't it, Professor?
Yes, it is.
With child soldiers.
Yeah, so spoilers for the new Call of Duty Modern Warfare game, which is not Call of Duty Modern Warfare 1, which came out in like 2010, or Call of Duty Modern Warfare Remastered, which came out in 2017, but Call of Duty Modern Warfare, because original titles are a thing. But that only matters if you're one of the people who cares about the story in the COD game. So the new COD Modern Warfare game has a level based around being a child soldier. You see your mother die, and then with your brother you run around and fight off Russians who are trying to kill you with a screwdriver.
You're not picking on the Russians again, are you?
No, I'm not. Vladimir Putin, please don't assassinate me.
I was just going to say, like, we were talking before the show that we're probably in the bad books with America and China. We don't need to add Russia to it. They do actually kill you. They poison you in the middle of a shopping centre.
Especially with an umbrella tip.
Yep.
No, umbrella tip was actually the English.
Really? The Ryson assassination?
No, not Ryson. The umbrella thing was, I thought it was a radioactive element. Polonium, I think.
The umbrella tip, the original one, I think, was actually cyanide, and it was on the bridge going across the River Thames towards...
Yeah, it was a Bulgarian dissident on Waterloo Bridge, stabbed with a umbrella containing a pellet of ricin.
It was ricin, was it?
Yes.
There you go.
But also, they poisoned Alexander Litvinenko with polonium tea.
Mm-hmm.
Pistols, poisonous plants. There's a lot of dodgy deaths here.
So basically, what we gathered here is they will make a murder look like a suicide.
Yeah, or an accident, or make it very deliberate. But anyway, the COD game has a level where you play as a child and you stab a Russian with a screwdriver. And it's kicked off all this controversy about it because people think it's out of place in the plot of Modern Warfare. And it reminds me of, I think, in 2011, Modern Warfare 2, I think, had the level where you shoot up an airport. And the developers were like, it's okay, you can skip this level. It's not part of the, you don't have to play it to get the story. And that and this one both got me thinking of that and whether it's correct for them to be putting this into the game if they're not going to make it a focus in the story.
Mm-hmm.
Because something like Spec Ops The Line has shooting civilians, but it's a key point in the story. You can't skip it. And then this has a silly boss fight where you stab the guy, run away and hide, run back and stab him again.
And let me guess, the boss fight is a 7-year-old with a crayon?
No.
Okay.
It's a Russian soldier.
Okay. Yeah, look, honestly, with the whole issue surrounding child soldiers is pretty terrible. I actually worked with a bloke who was a refugee from Sudan, and he'd been a child soldier. And he was one of the loveliest blokes I've ever met. Like, he was just happy to be able to be alive and just live a normal life. And he was one of those kids that the militia or whatever they wanted to call themselves attacked the village in the middle of the night and killed all the adults and took all the women and did what they did. He was forced to kill his father and to be able to protect himself and his 2 younger brothers. And yeah, they were forced to become child soldiers. And he's the only one that's still alive as far as I've heard last. But yeah. And then there's one of the blokes who studied at QUT who's now teaching, I think it's University of Western Sydney or something. Songs of the War Boy is a book that he wrote, and it talks about his situation as a child soldier. So yeah, if you're going to put it in the game, make it so that it's part of it and actually shows the whole horror of what's happening.
Yeah, I think it's a very difficult topic to cover in a game or a movie or anything, really. But the way they're treating it from these preview articles doesn't seem like a very sensitive way to do it.
Because even, what was that show? Mobile Suit Gundam, Iron-Blooded Orphans. I think they approached the issue of child soldiers and how despicable it is.
Yeah.
So,
although I will say that whole article reminds me of recently when the trailer initially dropped. One of the games journalists, Dean Takahashi, wrote a very interesting articles about how Call of Duty Modern Warfare it's taking war to a frightening direction, and how killing women is a bad game directive and it should not happen. And like he was the message in that article was very convoluted. And
to be fair, COD isn't taking gaming anywhere. They're several years too late. We've had Spec Ops: The Line, This War of Mine, and countless other games that have covered this sort of thing before.
But Takahashi in this article was saying like, "Oh, I'm not advocating for the game to be cancelled, but do we really need to play this game?" I'm like, so what are you trying to say? Like,
I don't know.
I don't know.
What are you trying to say?
I'm just saying that, like,
speak up, man.
Speak up, boy. This isn't an ASMR channel.
All I'm trying to say is that we're getting games journalists are trying to dictate what games should be, and that should not happen. That's the problem we're seeing.
Everything's going to have someone whinging about it. This, movies, pretty much anything's going to have a whinger.
Yeah, agreed.
The way I see it is that the artist should make what they want to make, and if it tells an intense story like Call of Duty's trying to do, so be it.
Mm-hmm.
But there's also got to be a certain level of sensitivity, which it doesn't sound like COD's doing very well.
Well, you've also got to take a certain amount of personal responsibility for what you choose to be involved with. If you don't agree with something like this, don't play it. Like, there's plenty of other options out there that you can go for that don't have this sort of thing. So if you don't agree with it, don't play it. If they're not making money out of it, they're not going to keep doing it, are they?
Yeah, and it's a COD game, and I think the last couple of years, COD has released the story and the multiplayer as separate units, so you only need to install one at a time. So if you just want to play the COD multiplayer, just download that.
Because there's also I saw earlier on today, someone was complaining somewhere about, like, someone done this big post in one of the nerd chat rooms that I go into about how Batman is the biggest fake superhero and it's all a total lie and sham, because there's no way he's actually a superhero, because if he isn't able to prepare for the villain, he doesn't stand a chance. If someone crops up that he's completely unexpected for, he loses and runs away in terror. And he's not supposed to be able to beat Superman. There's no way he'd be able to beat anyone from the Marvel universe. Quite big, huge rant. And the best part about it was the fact that at the end, there was a comment from someone responding to it going, yeah, sorry, but I love your passion, but you do realise this is only a work of fiction. And my fictional character can beat your fictional character if I write it that way and draw it that way. And I just thought, just such a simple response. So yeah, people are getting too used to trying to dictate to everyone else what everything's supposed to be and not just focusing on, you don't like it, don't be involved in it.
But here's the problem though. You got like EA saying that same line with Battlefield 5, and look what happened. Like Battlefield 5 is just the worst. It's classed as the worst game in one of the worst games. EA is losing tons and tons of money. And
Yeah, but that's not just
It's
because
not
of the
fair
game.
to
That's also
criticize Battlefield 5 considering Battlefront 2.
Yeah.
But it's not even just the game. It's also what do they call them now? Surprise mechanism. the new euphemism for loot boxes.
Hey, you said
I'll give
that if anyone brought up loot boxes, you'd kill them. So
Yeah, I'm wanting to. Don't worry. And there is the person sitting there talking quietly that is the person responsible for this. So he's the one who brought it up.
Once upon a time, but I didn't do it. You were the one that was saying.
You were leading there today. You know it. Anyway, let's move along before the DJ gets shot. We've got a gun trained on him today. DJ, you got a game you got for us?
I've got an interesting article. So
Speak up.
I hope it's interesting. This isn't boring articles. The podcast.
So Zoids, the mecha manga series, has come up with a new one, and that's coming out in August. And this will be debuting in the September issue in August. The new manga will be set in the future and will feature a new protagonist. And
hang on.
Hmm?
Don't read the article to us, man. Tell us about it, please.
No. So it's basically more info will be revealed in August, in the August issue, which comes out in mid-July. But yeah, so a new Zoid manga comes out.
So what's the best part about this that you can tell us?
Zoids has been consistent in terms of they've been around for a long, long time. As in, they were very popular back in the 90s. When
that's a long, long time.
Oh yeah, 20 years. What can you say? 20 years.
I don't know. I remember stuff from back in the 80s and the 70s.
But yeah, it's they're famous. Zoids was famous back in the early 2000s with their anime series, like Zoids Chaotic Century, Zoids. I think it was Battle Arena. But yeah, they were pretty much famous before the anime. They were famous for their model kits, and some of the model kits were huge.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's pretty surprising to see Zoids coming back into the manga fold after so long. Did you guys ever watch the Zoid series?
Never heard of it.
Never heard of it. We got introduced.
I saw some of it, but just never really got into it that much. It was just like it seemed too much of a takeoff of Ron and Transformers at the time.
Yeah, they were like I said, they were around for a long time. But I used to watch Zoid's New Century Zero. Yes, that's one. New Century Zero. That was the storyline for that one was just basically like Pokemon. It's just, oh, my Zoid is better than your Zoid. Let's battle. That kind of thing.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, like I said, it's great to see the Zoids franchise coming back after a long hiatus.
Awesome. Well, something to look forward to then. What games have you been playing, Professor?
I've been playing My Friend Pedro. It's a game where you play as a mute amnesiac lunatic talking to a talking banana.
So it's Deadpool.
Does Deadpool have bananas?
No, but he has an invisible friend.
So yeah, but we don't tease you about it.
He also has ridiculous acrobatic skills. Acrobatics, actually. He does these fantastic ballet twirls when he dodges and shoots to both sides of him as he spins.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I really enjoyed the whole game, and I'm actually playing back through it again on a harder difficulty. But I feel like the first half holds up much better than the second half because there's a lot more focus on stunts in the first half, but the second half becomes more of a puzzle platformer.
Okay. Did you find that too challenging, or just seeing him changed the theme of the game?
Yeah, it changed the pace, and like I was in there for the crazy stunts, really.
Mm-hmm. I actually played that link you sent us, and yeah, I love the fact it starts off where he's the banana's talking to him and says, "Don't worry, I'm wearing my special invisibility underpants."
Yes, I linked the Flash version of the game in the chat earlier, which is heavily stripped down. It's from 2014, before the developer got picked up by Devolver. And he basically made this Flash demo, sort of, with hardly any of the features that made it into the final game. But it's still worth checking out. It's a fun little, takes about 15 minutes to play.
Yeah, I love the shoot him in the head. It's all his fault that all these boxes are littering up the place. He just doesn't deserve to be allowed to stay alive or whatever.
Yeah, it's got a good sense of humor in the full game as well.
Mm-hmm. So you definitely recommend the game then?
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, even if I didn't enjoy the puzzle part as much as the action part. But being able to ride a skateboard through a window into a building full of enemies and shoot them all on the way down is a lot of fun. Being able to throw a frying pan at someone and then ricochet bullets off it to shoot his friend is fun.
I'll definitely have to look at getting that one then. DJ, what have you been playing this week?
I've just been playing Mortal Kombat 11. Still liking that Shang Tsung DLC. Having fun, trying to learn new combos off from him, and yeah, it's been fun. It's been fun so far.
That's good. I'm just still committing assassinations in Assassin's Creed 2. I'm enjoying that. Well, moving along, we've got shout-outs. It's 10 years since Michael Jackson died this week. 30 years since Australia first connected to the internet. And that was back in the day. That was back in the days when it was dial-up internet.
I like how you two are trying to talk, but then it's just not coming out right.
Yeah.
That's
anyway,
kind of like the original. I'm sorry. You go first.
We are not good at this tonight. Mm-hmm. The first connection was to Melbourne, which surprised me. I would have assumed it would run across the Pacific to Sydney.
Mm-hmm. But this was back in the days for the younger generation when it was dial-up.
Oh yes, who could ever forget the dial-up ringtone?
Yeah.
And then if someone actually phones you on the phone, you dropped out of the internet, which is fun because I used to, if someone was being a pain to me and annoying me, I'd actually just ring up their modem and disconnect them from the internet.
Remember before Facebook and MySpace was a thing, there were things like IRC chat and ICQ, and
they're still around.
Yeah, I still use IRC.
You still use IRC? That's amazing.
Yeah.
Lots of people do.
I always thought people would just abandon IRC and just go to like Facebook and Snapchat and all the modern social media.
No, because the anonymity is a lot stronger in IRC.
Ah.
Oh, so it's got a much better sort of discovery mechanism. If you want to speak to someone on Facebook, you basically have to know them already. If you just hop on an IRC server, you can just jump around and talk to people, different channels.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then
seriously, there's more collaborations done through IRC and those sorts of platforms than pretty much anything else as far as gang science, all that sort of stuff. You got a lot of the people, they'll talk about different ideas and just bounce them off each other.
It's also very lightweight, so we use it for scout events like the Jamboree of the Internet. That's run basically, 90% of it's on IRC. They've started bringing in other platforms in the last couple of years, but I think IRC's going to stick around for another 20 years.
Remember how back in the 90s as well, there was the whole Napster and how that exploded file sharing?
What's file sharing?
You never heard of file sharing, like peer-to-peer file sharing?
That sounds like something that could be illegal.
You wouldn't download a card.
Do that sort of stuff.
Oh, such a Boy Scout, aren't you, Bucky?
I have no idea what you're talking about. But so yeah, moving along. Talking about Boy Scouts and guys who do good things and superheroes. Batman is getting a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, and he's the first superhero to do so. So yeah, don't worry, Marvel will probably follow suit pretty soon and buy their way into having a star.
I thought they already did when Chris Hemsworth got nominated to get a star on Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Yeah, that's the actor. That's not his character.
Ah, nuts.
Yeah, it's not. So you failed there, Marvel. remembrances this week. It was actually there was one of the commander from one of the James Bond movies actually died just the other day.
Yes. I saw his article today. Can't remember who it was, though.
You mean Roger Moore?
No, not Roger Moore. He was actually like one of the submarine commanders where it's all the submarines are being captured.
Yeah, it's Brian Marshall.
That's it. He was in which movie was it?
Commander Talbot from The Spy Who Loved Me.
That's it. That was this one that just came up today. Just a couple of days ago, sorry. We'll get that added into the show notes. Also, this week we have Jacques Cousteau, French naval officer. It was his birthday just the other week. Lots of documentaries I remember watching as a kid and always loved it. He was co-developer in the Aqualung for scuba gear. That was on the 25th of June. Also on the 25th of June, once again, we have Michael Jackson twice. 25th of June, 2011. We have Annie Easley, a female computer scientist, mathematician, and rocket scientist. Unfortunately at the time, it was a big deal. She was a African American who was involved in a lot of the stuff. So she died of natural causes in Cleveland, Ohio. Moving on to famous birthdays, 25th of June, 1903. George Orwell, a crazy writer, essayist, novelist, critic, who's come up with some ridiculously cool stories. One which some governments seem to take as a guidebook is 1984 and use it to spy on us. June 25, 1928. Peyo, the Belgian cartoonist best known for his comic strips The Smurfs and Johan and Peewit, in which the Smurfs first appeared. On June 25, 1864, we have Walter Hermann Nernst, the German chemist known for his work in thermodynamics, physical chemistry, electrochemistry, and solid-state physics. So, a Nobel laureate in chemistry. He is known for developing the Nernst equation. He was born in Briesen, West Prussia, which is now Rubszewno, Poland. And I know I've probably stuffed up the pronunciation of that, but please, Polish people, don't come and kill me. Events of interest, we have 23rd of June, 1989, Tim Burton's Batman was released worldwide, and the world was a better place for it. 24th of June, 1994, The Lion, is that The Lion King there, DJ?
Yes,
It
it is.
should be. Someone messed up the show notes again.
It says The Lion was released worldwide.
No, it's the lion, as in a lion got out and ate everyone.
Yeah, everything's just disappeared there. All right. It was the Lion King was released worldwide. You still haven't quite got it. Yeah, it's all right. You're suffering from post-assignment. You're suffering from post-assignment syndrome. 25th of June, 1678, Venetian Lena Cornaro Piscopia is the first woman awarded a doctorate of philosophy when she graduates from the University of Padua. Go and take a look at this lady. She is ridiculously intelligent. I was looking at some pieces on her the other night, and she was multilingual. She was going to pursue mathematics and a lot of other things and sciences, and she was going to attempt to get a doctorate in theology, but was blocked by the bishop. But she was allowed to pursue a doctorate in philosophy, which she spent quite a lot of time presenting in multiple languages. Lady Elena spoke for an hour in classical Latin, explaining difficult passages selected at random from the works of Aristotle, One from the posterior analytics and the other from physics. And she absolutely crushed all the competition and, achieved quite a lot. So definitely worth, if you want to read about a lady who was ahead of her time, definitely worth checking out. Just get back into the right location. 25th of June 2018, Harley Davidson plans to shift some motorcycle production away from the US to avoid the substantial burden of European Union tariffs. So not all your Harley Davidsons are American made. Some of them are actually European.
Ooh, that's gonna suck.
I can just imagine all the angry bikies.
I know a friend of mine who rides a Harley, and I'm going to give him grief now. I'm going to say, you always pick on European-made motorcycles as being garbage. How much of your Harleys actually made in Europe? Probably the better part.
You're a horrible person.
Thank you. I'll take pride in that. Anything else we got to add in, guys, that I may have missed?
Nah, nothing. I've got nothing.
You got nothing. You're not going to do a rant about Chinese hackers?
Nope.
Oh, no.
No.
Don't start it.
What else you got to get for your bingo? We've got the shout out for Off with the Fairies.
We didn't mention penguins yet.
Bingo! We got bingo.
Yeah, there you go. Actually, I saw something the other week about penguins being thieves. That's something I've seen before in a documentary, but if you're ever sitting at a beach and you're trying to build a pile of rocks, and it seems that you never seem to be able to build a big enough pile, just look around for a penguin because he's probably stealing your rocks to build a nest. What else have we got? We have ways of contacting us. What's our Twitter address?
At an amalgamated.
Email?
nerds.amalgamated@gmail.com.
Where else can they find us, Professor?
On Facebook at our Nerds Amalgamated page, on that'snotcanon.com, and on Stitcher, iTunes, and wait, that's it, isn't it?
Nope.
Spotify as well.
Spotify.
And anywhere where there's good podcasts. So if we're not on somewhere where you get podcasts, it's obviously they don't have good podcasts.
Yep. If you can't find us and our friends, you're in the wrong place.
But other than that, remember to look after yourselves, take care of each other, and stay hydrated. So, that's the end of the episode for another week. So it's hooroo from me.
See you guys.
We'll see you next week.
Yeah,